Thanks for tuning in to Picture Lock. I'm Kevin Sampson, and the short film Colorblind is set in 1965 in Boston as a black man invites the woman he's in love with on a date. Now, that's not much of a setup there, but watch the film unfold and you'll understand why that's all you need to know for now. I have the film's writer, director, producer, Angelos Bougas with me. Angelos, welcome to Picture Lock.
Hi, well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. Angelos, I love starting in the beginning. When did you first fall in love with film?
Well, it's a hard day to go back to exactly, but as a very young child, my dad always used to record me and our family's most intimate moments, and I think that slowly made me develop like an interest in videotaping and filming and in cameras in general. And then I remember at some point I started doing this myself, and then I got sort of the role of the filmmaker of the family, where I sort of recorded everything, and this is how I got started.
I love that, Angelos. When I look back at old family tapes as well, I suddenly have noticed that like I wasn't in many of it because I'm behind the camera as well. And there was like one time when like I guess I shot into a mirror and I saw myself and I was like, wow. So it's really interesting how filmmakers like kind of you just gravitate towards it and that's your start, you know? That's cool.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
All right. Well, give us a little bit of backstory. How did you go from the little kid that has the handy cam and getting all of the family footage to the filmmaker now? How'd you crack into the industry?
Well, when I was around 15, I at the time I knew already that I wanted to study in the States from Greece. And so I found this opportunity at Harvard Summer School, and I got this small scholarship to go over the summer and take the summer school there. And I thought, why don't I take as one of my two classes film directing? And I did, and it actually went pretty well. I remember getting an A minus, and my professors being quite happy with me. This is actually how I made my very first super amateur short film, which is terrible, but yes, and since then I just got started.
Nice. All right. So just so the audience does know, you recently graduated, and so this film Colorblind is a part of our future of filmmaking, student filmmaker film block, and the films that are in this block are just wonderful. But let's crack into Colorblind. What inspired you to make this film?
Well, so it was summer of last year, and as you very well know, the Black Lives Matter movement was taking place in the US. And I happened to be spending the summer with my family here in Greece. And I don't know, I just felt not really able to participate in some super meaningful way. And as I didn't have too much going on, I thought, wait a minute, why don't I try to use my creativity and use whatever equipment and everything that I have to make something meaningful that could have an impact. And so uh, there were many challenges in doing that during lockdown, and with not really able to move outside and film. But it was a pretty amazing experience. With the first challenge being that in Greece, unfortunately, the black population is tiny. It's probably much less than 1%. So finding a black actor in the first place was a challenge.
Wow. There's a few things here. One, as a part of the DC Black Film Festival, each year we've always done a Making Black Lives Matter through film panel for exactly what you said. A lot of times as filmmakers, we might not be, I mean, we can be activists in our own right, but I think we might not lead the front lines of activism, right? But we can take the craft and we can use it to get a message out there. So I love how, you said that you couldn't really get involved, but you could use the craft. And I think that's what's really important as artists. But The one thing that I really love about this year's crop of films is that we're getting international films that are all kind of dealing with social justice. And so, as you had to search for a black actor, could you lead us through kind of the process of that and why you felt it was important, again, to put this film together?
Well, I mean, first of all, it all came as the thought of making this film came, I think, at 3 a.m. I was just sitting in the balcony and I thought, okay, like I need to make something that's hopefully meaningful and impactful, and it's short. And I ideally want it to be about racial justice. So as I came up with the idea, I immediately started thinking, okay, like where do I start here? And obviously, the first step was putting a listing on a website for Greek actors and saying, hey, like I'm looking for this and that, and we're trying to make a film about social justice that will hopefully awaken the public. So without a surprise, it was 4 days after that, and I had received no applications or no messages. So I was like, okay, I have to be more creative here. And as I was scrolling on my Facebook, I remember seeing a conversation of Greek blacks between Greeks who are blacks, and they were discussing about race. And I was like, okay, what if one of those like 8 people is actually an actor? And I opened the video, and surprise, surprise, one of them is an actor. So I just go on Facebook. I message him immediately. I'm like, hey, like I would love to work with you. And it actually turns out that he's one of the most prominent black actors in Greece who is has played in several like big budget movies, and is half of my friends actually like knew him already. So it was quite funny how it happened, and he was an amazing person. His name is Jerome Kaluta. He's also a singer, and the moment we met in person, we just bonded immediately, and we decided to do this. So yeah.
Man, that's awesome. So one of the things about your film that I really enjoy is the cinematography. It's amazing. But you chose to show this in black and white. And granted, your film is called Colorblind, so I can see that there. But if you could just stylistically, just tell the audience kind of why you chose to go black and white. I think it's amazing that you kind of did a period piece, right? So you had to get that old school car and all that. Like, there's so much that went into this. And although it's a short film, it's obvious that you really put a lot of thought into it. So yeah, if you could just talk about the style, the cinematography, etc.
Yeah, well, first, in regards to the process, as you said, it really was a great experience trying to make a film that's set in the '60s, like from finding the car to finding the house where the film was filmed, which was actually my grandma's house. But in terms of the black and white, it wasn't really a stylistic choice. It was more of a um, it was something that had to be done for the purpose of telling the story. Because I mean, I don't want to give the story away here, but the whole story ties in the end where there is a transition, and everything. The whole film is about criticizing in a way the little progress that we've seen in racial justice and police discrimination over the past few decades. So I thought that black and white was a great opportunity to showcase the passage of time and even highlight it. So it was used more as a tool rather than as a stylistic choice. Which, I mean, obviously, then it was a huge part of the style of the film, which I loved. I loved doing because of all the different challenges that there were. You know.
Most definitely. And not only that, I guess uh, we'll wrap up in a second here, but one of the things that they tell you in school, grad school, film school, is don't do a period piece, don't do anything with kids, don't do anything with a swimming pool, right? And here you do a period piece, but talk a little bit about the fun of actually creating the period, making sure that in the background, right, we don't see anything from 2020, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, what an amazing experience that was. Everything from just getting the right clothes to. I mean, I remember for my male actor, I I found a store in Athens where they sold old stuff and old clothes, and I immediately went there, bought the clothes, and for the car, I remember looking at websites that rented cars for like weddings and stuff, and it turns out that they were like super expensive. It was like $500-600 for a few hours. So I ended up looking at the website that sold cars, and so I just looked for super old cars that were being sold, and I remember making 200 calls a day, and the last call I made, the guy was like, "Oh, you want to use my car? Like I can even pay you. Like thank you." So of
Wow.
course, yeah. So of course, I didn't get paid for the car, but yeah, it worked out, and it was actually funny because even the car, you don't think about it, but two of my best friends who were helping out with the production are actually car engineers, so they were with me the whole night of filming, and thank God they were, because the car stopped working twice. So I had to stop by the side of the road, and they had their tools and they were fixing the car. So yeah, I mean, great challenges that I faced.
Man, again, that's probably why they say as a student filmmaker, don't do period pieces, but you did it. You overcame the challenge. That's awesome. Angelos, it's been really great talking with you. I love being able to hear more about the behind the scenes of the filmmaking for Colorblind. If you could, as we wrap out here, what do you hope that audiences take away after seeing your film?
Well, I hope that audiences realize what I did too last year, which is that we have almost a sort of superpower to create through our knowledge and through what we know. So I would urge more people, and obviously myself, to keep doing that.
Awesome. Colorblind will be screening virtually at this year's DC Black Film Festival during our Future of Filmmaking Student Filmmakers Film Block, August 19th through 22nd. Make sure you check out how you can get tickets for this screening and more, as well as our free online panel events at dcbff.org. Angelos, how can people find you online and find out more about the film?
Well, they can find me on Instagram, where I post all my traveling photos and behind the scenes at Angelos.Bougas, or on my website they can see more of my older work and documentaries, which is angelosbougas.com.
Writer, director, producer of Colorblind, Angelos Bougas. Thanks so much for coming on Picture Lock. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.